welcome back to the podcast. Carlos Vivas is here, who has survived a near-death experience, and he has a very excellent book that you want to check out that is called Help from Heaven, Miracles Happen When You Believe. And Carlos is a very multifaceted individual. He's passionate about suicide prevention, feeding the homeless, Toys for Tots. He does obstacle races, he loves nature, visiting waterfalls, climbing mountains, swimming in the ocean, and we are going to find out about how Carlos has survived cancer, how he's been saved by dolphins, and how he has dedicated his life to helping others. So we'll find out some very good lessons and stories and so much more. So Carlos, wonderful speaking with you.
Yes, thank you, Robert, for inviting me to your program. I'm really glad to be here. And let me start telling my story. So when I was 14 years old, I was diagnosed with a terminal disease called leukemia. When we went to the doctor, they did all the tests on me. This was doctor number 10, and he said, look, I'm a hematologist. I'm a specialist in this, and there is no way that I can help you because you guys came too late. Your mom, your dad, and they brought you too late here. So I'm sorry, there is nothing else to do. So in that moment, my mom started crying, just was desperately, and she started asking the doctor, like, hey, doctor, there have to be something else to do with my son. You need to rescue my son. So the doctor said, okay, lady, sit down. Let me give you two options. Number one is flying to Houston, Texas, and do a bone marrow transplant. And if we do that, that's the best to do in these cases. My mom said, how much is going to cost? And the doctor said, well, it's going to cost a lot of money. Maybe you're going to have to sell your house, your cars, and everything you have in order to pay for the surgery. So my mom said, okay, if I do all that, could you save my son? And the doctor said, well, it's going to be 50-50 chance. We don't know. And my mom said, okay, I don't like that one. What is the next one? The next one is flying to Paris, France, and bring a formula that I'm working with another doctors. And if we start the treatment, maybe his bone marrow can start working again. So my mom said, okay, I get that one. So my mom used to work at the Air Force. So her boss would go to France, bring the formula. I start taking the formula. And after a month taking the formula, I go back to the doctor office. He take a lot of tests and exams on me. And he tell me, like, I need to speak with your parents. So my mom and dad go inside of the room. I say, I'm sorry, it's not working. But we need to finish the treatment. It's 3 months. So 2 more months. When this was happening, my mom and dad were crying all the time. I feel horrible because I didn't know what I did to deserve this, And one day I was by myself at home, and I said, you know what, God? There is a God that He help you if you pray. I know that, so I was studying at Catholic school at that moment. So I went on my knees and I said, God, if you save me from this cancer, I promise you, I'm gonna tell the whole world that you're real. And in that moment, I feel heat all over my body, and I feel like yes inside of me. And from that day, I start visualizing that everything's going to be fine. I'm going to get cured. So from that moment, I was praying all the times. Fast forward 2 months, we get to the day that the doctor called us to his office. We have to do a CT scan. So he put me on that tunnel that take x-rays and everything. And when I get out of the tunnel, the doctor come with the results, and the result was that I didn't have any more cancer. Everything disappeared. So my mom was happy. She was jumping. Oh my God, this is a miracle. Thank you, God. And the doctor said, I'm sorry, lady. There's no miracles. What happened is because we administered too many chemicals on him, we erased the cancer, but that's called remission. Remission is when the cancer disappears and then come back later, more aggressive. And in that moment, I heard a voice inside of me that said, this will never happen again. So after this, and from that moment on until today, I never had cancer again. So, but I never accomplished my promise. I never say anybody about God because I was 14 years old. Fast forward 15, 20 years, 2015, I was in Panama City Beach in Florida. I was on an island called Shell Island. I was there with 7 friends. And at the end of the afternoon, my friend said, hey, Carlos, we're going to walk the island. I said, well, guys, you need to go back here in an hour because the last boat leaves the island around 5:30. And you need to be here because if not, we're going to have to sleep in this island. I said, no, don't worry. So they left. I was by myself taking care of the whole tent and chairs and everything. And after they left, 10 minutes later, it started getting hot. So I said, you know what? I'm just going to jump and swim a little bit in the water. And I'm not afraid of the water because I used to swim when I was a child. So I used to be on a club with kids and compete and all that. So I jumped into the water. I was swimming, and out of the sudden, a riptide came. I never heard in my life what a riptide was. I didn't know what it was, so I started fighting against the riptide. So it was like a twister under the water, and it was taking me all the way inside of the ocean. If people saw the movie Finding Nemo, you can see a tunnel of water. It's called Australian current, and take all the fishes out into the ocean. So that's what it happened to me. So this riptide took me far, far away from the coast. When I was in the middle of the ocean after fighting for more than 20 minutes, I started getting cramps on my arms, on my legs, and I said, you know what, this is it. I have to I have to say my last word because this is it for my life. There is no way that I'm gonna get out of here. So at that point, I said to myself, you know what, God, before you take me, I just want to say thank you. I want to say thank you for my mom, my dad, my brothers, my sisters. Thank you for everything you gave me, and I'm sorry if I did something wrong. In that moment, I heard a voice behind me that said, ask for help. And I was like, what? And I look behind me and I don't see anyone. And then trying to swim again, and I heard again, ask for help. And I looked back and I was like, are you kidding me? Could you please help me? Nothing. And the third time was, I told you to ask for help. I was like, oh my God, don't you see that it's impossible to get there? But okay, I'm going to ask for help. So I started screaming, help, help, help. At the end of the island, one of my friends came out of the group because he felt something was wrong. And he was looking for me everywhere until he went to the top of a hill. And from the top of the hill, he saw me. He started calling me, Carlos, I'm going to call 911. Hold on, hold on. He didn't call 911. He went to the other side of the island, brought people, and 6 guys went to the top of the hill. They jumped from the rocks. Everybody was swimming my way. But guess what? 20 minutes later, nobody could get to me. At this point, I was desperately, I was like, oh my God, please help me, God. And then something that he caused me like, what? Everybody started turning around. And I was, why are they turning around? And then I looked behind me and I heard a thunder, and I see a big thunderstorm coming. So it was lightning and thundering behind me. And that's why nobody wanted to rescue me, because they didn't want to die there, with the thunderstorm. So when everybody gave up and everybody turned around, I said, you know what, God, I'm not going to fight anymore. I've been fighting here for a long time, but from this moment, I'm just going to surrender. And in that moment, I said, you know what, God, do whatever you have to do with me and do it quick. And in that moment, a huge wave came and crushed me all the way into the ocean. When I was under the water, I open my eyes and I see far, far away a black shadow that was coming my way. And in that moment, I thought it was a shark. So I covered my face and I was like, oh my God. And then this thing came under me and grabbed me and pushed me all the way up. And when I get to the top, it wasn't a shark. It was a huge gray dolphin. I couldn't believe it. I started crying. I grabbed the dolphin by the tail and I started like, wow. So I started crying, sobbing, looking the dolphin to their eyes. And it's like when you have a dog or a cat and you see the animal into their eyes and they almost kind of speak with you telepathically. That was the same thing with the dolphin. Like the dolphin was saying with his eyes, I was here, so you don't want to die. I save you, And I was like, wow, thank you, thank you, thank you, thank you. 10 minutes later, a feature boat showed up in front of me and he said, son, I can save you, but I cannot get close to you because the wave from the thunderstorm, they're very big. So I'm going to throw you a rope. So he threw me a rope. I grabbed the rope and I start going to the boat. And when I get to the boat, I get some air like, so when the guy saw me, he started screaming at me like, what are you doing? What are you doing? You need to get in right now. I was like, sorry, let me breathe, please. I said, I know. I have a problem with my boat. My boat is sinking. I said, your boat is sinking? Like, what are you talking about? I said, yes, I have a pump and the pump is stopped. And now all the waves that are coming from the ocean, they're getting filled up my boat and I'm getting floated inside. So hurry up, go to the back and you will see some steps to jump inside of the boat. So I went to the back of the boat. I saw the step and I jumped in. When I jumped in, the water was like this. And I said, like, sir, do you have any bucket? I take the water out. I said, like, we don't have time for that. So sit down next to me. I sit down next to him. He put a towel over me and he asked me, like, are you okay? I said, yes, I'm fine. What happened to you? I said, I don't know. Like a big current brought me all the way here. It was like a whirlpool under the water. And he said, that's a riptide. So where is your family and friends? Everybody's there. And then he said, let me ask you another question. Are you from here? Where are you from? I said, I'm from Atlanta, Georgia. And he said, I'm from Atlanta, Georgia too. What part? I said, I'm from Duluth. And he said, I'm from Norcross. So Duluth and Norcross is next to each other. So we were neighbors. I was like, this is crazy. As soon as I said this, he started screaming like, oh my God, look behind you, look behind you. And when I looked behind me, what happened was the dolphins started jumping behind the boat and started following the boat all around the island to the bayside. When we arrived to the bayside, the guy said, okay, son, I have to leave you right here. But if you want to see me again, every Memorial Day, I'm going to be right here with you. I said, oh, I mean, you can see me when I come back here on Memorial Day with my family. So you will see me at both. I said, well, thank you so much, sir. God bless you. Give me a hug. I jump off the boat. In that side of the island, the bayside, there was nobody there because everybody was running to the other side. I start walking to the shore. The guy left. And in that moment, something hit my leg. And I look back, and guess what? The dolphin was behind me. This moment, this was very overwhelmed for me, and I start crying. I couldn't believe it. And then when I get to the shore, I go on my knees and I say, okay, God, this is it for me. If you save me with this dolphin, I just want to say something. From this moment, Carlos died into the ocean. The person who's coming out of the water is not going to be me. It's going to be you. I give you my life. I give you my soul. And I give you everything that I have to you. So do whatever you have through me. And in that moment, it started raining, thundering, lightning. In that moment, the dolphin leave. My friends get from the other side, and everybody start running to my way. Everybody start hugging me, my friends. The police arrive. They take me back to the island. They ask me what happened, and I told what happened. And they take me to a church because I tell them I need to pray. This was a miracle. So we get to the closest church to this park. It's called San Andrews State Park in Panama City Beach. And the church was, I called it Fatima because it was a Virgin Fatima outside. So it was a Catholic church. So we tried to get inside of the church. It was closed. So my friend said, don't worry. Outside there is a chapel on the garden. So we can do a circle and we all hug each other. Everybody that came from the beach, people plus my friends. And we did a circle and we hugged each other and we prayed for like 20 minutes. After we finished, we went back to the hotel. I took a shower, I get something to eat, and I went to sleep. As soon as I put my head on the pillow, I have an epiphany. I never had this before. It was like a vision. In this vision, I was on the third floor of a cruise in the Caribbean. I was grabbing the handrails, looking in front of me. It was blue ocean, blue skies, very sunny day. And then out of the sudden, at the end of the ocean, I see a big tsunami coming my way. And I was like, what? A tsunami? I'm going to die. So I covered my eyes and wait 5, 10, 15 minutes. Nothing happened. And then somebody come behind me and said, like, hey, wake up. I said, like, no, we're about to die. And he said, you're never going to die with me. I said, who are you? Look at me. So I take my hands out of my face. I look back, but I couldn't see his face because from his face, light was coming. This guy was taller than me with a white robe. He said, close your eyes, please. So I closed my eyes. He hugged me from behind. And then 10 seconds later, he said, open your eyes. So I opened my eyes. In front of me, I'm in heaven in that moment. And in front of me, there are millions of people dressed in white robes. The heaven, what I saw was like a huge golf course, like fresh cut grass, infinitive grass, a lot of clouds. People were glowing. And then Jesus that was behind me said, Carlos, welcome to heaven. From this moment, you're part of me and part of all of them. From this moment, you start walking with me and walking with all of them. Do you have any questions? I said, like, yes. So what's your question? Where all these people come from? And Jesus said, they're coming from all over the world. Do you have another question? I said, yes. What is the true religion? I've been looking and searching for religions, but there are 50,000 religions in the world. I said, well, the only thing that I can tell you when you come to heaven, there is no religions here. The only thing that you're going to find in heaven is the love of God. The love of God is the most powerful force in the universe, and that's what is going to give you the whole humanity. Is going to unite the whole humanity in one. Now, before you go, I have to let you know something. I want you to give a message to the whole world. I said, yes, what is the message? I said, well, people all over the world, more than 98% of people around the world have childhood trauma. And I need you to tell them they need to forgive. I said, they need to forgive who? And he said, they need to forgive 3 people. Number 1, their parents. It doesn't matter if they didn't like you, if they mistreat you, if they abuse you, if they abandon you, whatever they did to you, they did the best they could to give you the best you have. Number two, you need to forgive your inner child. Why? Whatever happened in your childhood is not your fault. You was afraid, you was scared, nobody will save you from that, okay? So that's why you was terrorized. So it's moment that you grab that kid and hug it and say, okay, from this moment you're protected with me. And number three, you need to forgive all the people that came to your life to harm you. Why? When you forgive your parents, your inner child, and the people that came to harm you, you're not forgiving them, you're forgiving yourself. In that moment, you open your heart and you throw away all the hate, all the resentment, and all the poisons that have been eating you for years. And from that moment, is you are free. So that's when Jesus told me, like, imagine you have a balloon with a string, you cut the string and let the balloon go. You're free. And when you're free is when you start living with purpose. Because Jesus told me everybody came to earth with a purpose. And what is the biggest purpose? The biggest purpose, he said, I give a gift to every person. What is your gift? It's the only thing that you do better than anybody else. Maybe it's to cook, dance, sports, anything, teach. You know what you do better than anybody else. If you don't want to do that purpose, the next purpose is called service. Why service? Because when you die, you're not taking anything from this world. Look at the guy from Apple. He had billions of dollars. He didn't take anything. The same is going to happen to us. We're not taking anything to the other side, okay? So the only thing that we're going to take is how many people we help, how many people we give food, shelter, how many lives we change, how many people we help, and what was the blueprint that you left on this world to impact other lives, like Mother Teresa, Martin Luther King, Princess Diana, Nelson Mandela. All these people came and did service for others. And even that they're not here on earth anymore, their service continue on and people is still doing their service. So my final question for people that's watching your program is, what are you doing today to leave a legacy of service for your friends, your family, your coworkers, and everybody around you? Because like I said, life is just one. We came here to learn. This is a big school. And the only thing that we're going to leave here is the love that we have inside of our hearts, because we're not taking anything. And that's my story.
Wonderful. We packed so much into there, right? It was like 3 podcast
Yes.
episodes in one, and I have so
Yes.
many ideas, and I've seen you on other podcasts sharing the same story, and there's just so many cool things to think about, right? Just that you have these moments of stress, struggle, near death, and then luck coming out of it, and then transformation, and then a purpose,
Hmm.
and taking these life lessons with you, and kind of it's almost like a life instruction manual, right? Especially when you
Yes.
said there that, well, it's better to forgive and overcome your own baggage and your own
Yes.
childhood, and kind of
Hmm.
treat yourself as if you would treat a little child. You wouldn't say these nasty things that you say to yourself,
No.
and forgive yourself, because then that
Yes.
frees you up to help others. And you're saying
Hmm.
this helping others takes the form of either teaching or in service, so that way you can leave the world slightly better than you found it, because it is a one-way direction, right? You're here in this
Yes.
world for a limited amount of time, and then you go off and no one has ever come back. Well, maybe like a slightly, but no one's ever gone to heaven and stayed for like a year and then come back permanently. It's
Right.
pretty much you're here, you get maybe little glimpses, but then you're gone. And so we need to do these positive things and help others. And I know we don't have that much time left because we packed in so much, but as we're winding down, is there anything that you've struggled with or that you're currently working on? Because like you do all the like helping the elderly and the volunteering and the outdoors, but we're always working to better our best and do a better job. So is there anything that you're currently kind of looking to improve in your own life?
Brother, the only thing that I'm improving myself is serving others better. I work with Food for Life. Is a big organization here in Atlanta. Is a Food for Life Global is the biggest organization in the world, over 65 countries, giving vegetarian food to homeless on the streets. So every day I'm trying to do my best every time that they go to the streets to give food. I mean, in our kitchen in Midtown Atlanta, we cook between 300 to 500 meals every day. And then it's not just go to the street and give the food to these guys. It's go to the street, give the food, and talk to them, because they're not there because they just want to jump into the streets. They're teachers, they're doctors, they're engineers. I mean, if you hear the stories of these people, it's going to blow your mind. But something traumatic passed in their life that they abandoned themselves and they went to the streets. So there is a lot of people that need help. And if more people can join me and come with me, or do it in your state and try to help these people on the street, we can improve this world, you know. So I just put in a grain of sand of my love to help others. So you guys that are watching this program can do the same. Not with homeless. If you don't want with homeless, you can do it with your neighbor, or you can do it with your family. How many times we have family that we don't speak with because we're mad with it? And then time pass, and then they get cancer, and they're gonna die, and then you look quick go, it's like, I'm sorry, but you lost like 10 years without talking with that person. Could be with a friend. And I recommend you to do this exercise. Grab your phone and call somebody that give you an advice that changed your life, and you never had time to say thank you to that person. How many times you get an advice and then change your life and you never had go back? Maybe it could happen 5, 10, 20 years without seeing that person. Imagine how overwhelming it's going to be this when you call that person that you have 10 years without talking to, and say, like, you know what, you changed my life when you said that to me, and I just want to say thank you. In that moment, you are changing his life and changing your life, and bringing a love and light in that moment. So is from me to the world to open your heart and give the best, be the best version of yourself. That's my message from everybody here.
And that is a wonderful message. And those are some very insightful homework assignments that you've given to us, right? You can say, well,
Yep.
either who needs help, who is disadvantaged, and maybe that could be
Mm-hmm.
homeless. There's these things like food banks and volunteer organizations,
Mm-hmm.
and it might be helpful for someone if they're looking to just be on this quest to be a better person, look into
Yes.
what kind of programs, what kind of community organizing has been done in their own town, because it's right in front of us, right? There's flyers,
Yep.
there's Facebook posts, we can Google, we can look on our city website. It's there, we
Mm-hmm.
just have to look at it. And then you're saying, well, even if that's too overwhelming, then think about that person that you haven't spoken to in 5, 10, 15, 20 years, that old friend, that old family member. And if you say, well, I don't even know what I would say to this person, you're saying, well, a good template is to think of what did they say 20 years ago that still sticks with you. And for them, it might have been just any other day, right? They might have just said
Yep.
any other remark, but then that really sat with you all these years later. And we all have something like that rattling around in our head. And
Oh yeah.
just tell them, hey, there's this thing that you said. You probably don't even remember saying it. This helped me. I still think about that. And thank you for saying that. And that's a very just doable thing for us to do, to be on this journey towards becoming a better person. And you've just wowed and amazed us with your story and with your advice. And we want to make sure that we go to the next logical step here, and where people can find out about you, right? You have the book, you have the audiobook, you have the social media. So what are some next steps here? How can someone contact you or just find out more about you in general?
Okay, well, thank you. I have a web page. It's called www.helpfromheaven.org. And from that page, I communicate with people, and I tell you where I'm going to be, because I'm doing live speaking all over US. So you can find me there. And on Facebook, I have a Facebook group where I bring people that have near death experience, because when this happened to me, I didn't know where to go. I started going to churches looking for answers, but they didn't want to say anything. So I turned into Google, and I Googled, like, what is this when you have this experience that I have? And then I didn't know that it's a huge community of millions of people looking for near-death experience. So to help the community, I opened a Facebook page. It's called Beyond Near-Death Experience on Facebook. It's in English and it's in Spanish too, and people can find me there and read a lot of stories for people that went through that, and how that events changed your life. Like when I come back from the near death, I knew that the time is limited here, and I stopped watching TV. I stopped doing a lot of stuff that wasting my time, and I start going into nature, going into the ocean, visiting more family, helping the community, because I know we're not going to be here forever, and every day on this life counts. So just trying to do one day at a time if it's too overwhelming for you. But that's my message in that.
I love it. Every day counts, but do it one day at a time. And those next steps, those websites are helpfromheaven.org. And then
Yes.
on Facebook, the Facebook group is called Beyond Near Death Experience. And find
Yeah.
out what Carlos Vivas has going on. If you enjoyed his story, check out his book, see where he's speaking, join that Facebook group, and stay in touch, because you're so right, Carlos, that so much of our time is wasted by watching TV. And does that really give us any value? Well, maybe a little bit of temporary entertainment, but
Yeah.
are we better for watching some TV show? Do we really help others? Well, not really. And whenever someone says, oh, well, I've got all these responsibilities, I don't have time. Well, you could probably watch, maybe you don't cut out all TV right away, but some, you might be able to free up an hour or two and just be a better person and help up the community and be kind to other people. And these are all very helpful, worthwhile, and it's just very needed advice that we need to hear. So Mr. Carlos Vivas, helpfromheaven.org, very wonderful speaking with you.
Thank you so much, Robert. I just want to say thank you for inviting me here. And I want to send a hug to everybody that is watching the program. God bless everybody. Take care. And like I said before, trying to be the best version of yourself and give love to the world, from your soul to the world. Open your heart. Thank you.